Okay. All right. So CSS w3schools. Okay. So let's learn what is CSS. Why do you need to know CSS? Okay. So CSS, first of all, CSS stands for Cascading Style Sheet. If I go to introduction section, here we go. Okay. So if you see these sections, this is what actually explain what is CSS. CSS stands for Cascading Style Sheet. Cascading Style Sheet. CSS define how HTML element to be displayed into the set. Style were added to HTML4 to solve the problem. CSS solved saves a lot of work. External CSS. So while we are learning CSS, we are going to learn three different types of CSS in our class. Okay. So there are three types of CSS we are going to learn in our class. First one is called internal CSS.
Internal.
Yes. Second one is called external CSS. Third one is called, I believe, embedded CSS. Let me see what is the other one. Oh, inline CSS. So in our class, we are gonna learn three different type of CSS. One is called internal, another is called external, and another is called inline CSS. Okay, inline, internal, external, and inline. So we are going to talk about everything, but to show you what is CSS, why do you need to know CSS? That's what actually we are going to learn today. Okay, so we already know how to create HTML, so we are going to actually start our coffee cup, and I am going to start a HTML projects. HTML page. So in my body tag, maybe I will start some p tag. In my p tag, I will say this is a paragraph. Then I will have some img tag, src equals to something. Then I will save it as css prac.html. Okay, so what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna see like if I have any image available in my HTML folder. Yeah, I do. fb.png, so I'm gonna use that. fb.png. So okay, so now I have an image and I have a paragraph, right? So now what is styling mean? Styling mean I want to put some color in my site. For example, color, or it can be color or it can be formatting. So whenever you create a Microsoft Word document, right, a lot of times you're going to have to use bold, italic, underline, then red, yellow, different type of text, right? So in HTML, you have to define your that type of styling using CSS. So there are three types of CSS we are going to learn. So first we are going to learn inline CSS, because inline CSS is the easy one. We already used inline CSS earlier. Remember, we used some attributes. We never used inline CSS. So today we are gonna use something called inline CSS, right? So for example, I want to change this text to bold. I want to change this text to red, or I want to make this with a background of yellow, something like this. Okay, so I can use a inline CSS to do the changes. Okay, so now we already know we can use different attributes such as like whatever attributes so far we have learned to make a background colors. So we just do bg color, right? Bg color equals to red. Bg color doesn't work for p tag. Interesting. Okay, so instead of attributes, today we are going to use CSS. So how do you use inline CSS? Every time you use a inline CSS, after tag, you are going to have another attributes called style, style. Okay, so you use style equals to oops, style equals to quotation. Now here you use, it's called key and value pair. So you use, for example, you want to do color. So you select color, then you do colon, then you do red. See, the text got changed. Do you see this? So the idea of styling is every time you need to change any styling, you start a new attribute called style. This is not a HTML attribute, this is CSS. As soon as you use a style attributes inside your HTML tag, that's actually CSS. You are writing in CSS. So always remember, CSS works in a key and value pair. So what is our key? Our key is color. Our value is red. So for example, I want to change this text to red. So I used color equals to red. Now I can use multiple key value pair. For example, now I want to make this text bold. So I can add another key and value pair of CSS to make it bold. Okay. Why it is calling inline? Because we are writing in the same line. We are styling the text in that same line. So that's why it's called inline. Okay. Is anyone joining online? No one texted today. Interesting. Oops. What is this called? Go to meeting, right? Oh, Masood Bhai actually texted. I didn't realize. 620 620 416. Okay, so we are trying to use inline CSS now. Okay, so multiple property. So now how you're gonna use multiple property? After that, you go with the key and value pair, put a semicolon. After semicolon, you can write another value key and value pair. So for example, another key and value pair could be margin left. This is another key and value pair. So in CSS, I will tell you what is margin left. So this is a key and value pair. So for example, instead of 20 pixel, I can say 60 pixel. Or I can say 160 pixel. See, it's actually that text is actually moving from left to right. It's based on, in web page, everything is actually broken down to pixel. That way image is actually set up. You guys know what is a megapixel in camera, right? So a image is divided to different point in a different resolution monitor, right? So same way in CSS you can define how many pixels you want to go left to right. So this is how this pixel works. So pixel, if we want to, like, from left to right, we use margin left, or if we want to go right to left, we use margin left. So there are different CSS property that you have to know. So we are gonna practice a couple of them. It's not really, like, necessary for us. For our practice purposes, we just need to know a little bit. Because in our job, we never have to actually use this. Whatever the use of this, we will learn whenever we do external or internal CSS. Inline CSS, not very necessary. Okay, so CSS is for styling, and there are three types of CSS we have learned so far. One is called internal, another is inline, and another is called external. So we already, like, learned what is a inline CSS example. Okay, so now this is a p tag, or, like, for example, instead of p tag, for example, you have to put, even though in this image this can be styled too, so you can use style. Now look, if I use style, it gives me all this key value pair in copy cup, right? So I can use any of this. So for example, alignment adjust, background, border, okay, border bottom, border width, border color. Okay, let's put a border color with maybe red. No, I don't see the red. Black. It's not really. Okay. Style equals to, let's see. Style. For example, okay, we can even actually use the same one, margin left. For example, we want to move our picture to little right, so we can use the same. Oh, I need this quotation. Okay, do you see, like, the image get actually moved to little right? Okay, so we are gonna, the thing is, like, CSS is not very mandatory for, like, our reason. We are gonna learn a little bit of CSS. We're not gonna learn all the properties and values. Okay, so the idea of CSS, or idea of inline CSS, is you write the CSS inside the tag with a attributes called style. Whenever you are gonna see style equals to something, that means you are gonna have to understand this is a CSS. Is that clear? So this is a inline CSS. Now today we are gonna learn another type of CSS. It's called internal CSS. So let's start another HTML. So I'm gonna save my file as internal underscore CSS dot HTML. Okay. So for example, I have a header here, h1, and that's the tag. Okay, then I have a paragraph tag with okay, Masud Bhai and Shumi Apu, did you guys actually miss the CSS explanation? We started little earlier, but I forgot to send you the meeting ID. Okay, look like they're not responding. Okay, So how do you write a internal CSS? Internal CSS is very easy. You come to head. Do you see your head tag right here? Head and head finish here. So you come to your head tag. Inside your head tag, you start a new tag called style. See this style? So now in this tag, whatever you are gonna write, it's gonna be your CSS. Everyone understood? No? What is the question? You have to tell me, like, we did not even actually start yet. What you didn't understand so far?
Head and style. Head already closed.
Okay, I said you have to create or write a style tag inside your head. So your head tag start from here and head tag ends here. So I did not do anything except I just added a new tag. Appropriate? I will, let me show you first what is internal, what is external, what is inline. Then I will explain what is the advantage and disadvantage. You will understand. Okay. So now, for example, I could have another H1 here, right? So I could have another H1 here. This is the second heading of the site or something. Okay. So now I will say, now in this style, now I can define different styling. How do you define different styling? That's what actually we are going to learn, right? So now, how? Very easy. You type, for example, I want to put some coloring for put some styling for H1. You put H1. Then you start a second bracket. You finish your second bracket. Okay. Now you do the exact same thing. Value key and value pair. So for example, you want to change the color. Okay. So color to maybe red. Do you see automatically that style is applied to, like, all the H1 I have? Now can you tell me what is the advantage and disadvantage of two type of CSS that we learned so far? What is the advantage of having this one? What is the, like, disadvantage of, like, what is the disadvantage and advantage comparing to this and the one actually we used earlier? Who can tell me, like, what is the advantage and disadvantage? Yes.
The first one is very specific to that content. This one here, when you have multiple, you have a big project, and you can't be changing every time you don't want to change this color.
Yes. This is actually one of the important advantage of having a inline CSS. You don't want to go to every line, every H1 to update your content. So for example, you only want to deal with one time. So all the H1 will be updated in one time. So you don't have to go to every cat to update your text. Clear? Right? So that is another thing, another good way to deal with your CSS. Okay. So now, for example, now if I want to, like, I want to put some styling for my paragraph, so I can do, for example, I can do p tag, and I will put some, I will do color equals to, oops, color equals to yellow. Did I misspell yellow? Okay. Oh, I see. Okay, so color is yellow. Ah, oh my god, you can see even. Okay, let's do blue. Okay, then I want to do multiple CSS properties. So all I'm gonna do, put a semicolon. Then, for example, I want to do text. Okay, you see text alignment, text height, text justify. So let's do justify equals to middle. Justify, oh no, justify, it's not gonna work here. I should say text alignment. Text align, yes. I want to do center. See, automatically text alignment actually, it actually automatically came to center. Okay, now I can use lots of multiple property. Now, for example, I want to do more text related. Um, sure, sure. That's called text. Text justify, text outline, text replace, text shadow, text wrap. These are not gonna really help. If I have big paragraph, that time text wrap will help. Text decoration, underline. See, text decoration is underlined. Okay, so everyone have, like, now basic idea what does CSS do and what is actually, like, how exactly you're gonna have to write CSS. So now we have learned two different types of CSS so far. One is called inline CSS and another is called internal CSS. Seems like the EC is not working. It's bad. See. Okay. So everyone have basic idea about styling now? Okay, good. So now next one is called external CSS. So we are going to start a new HTML. You're writing something?
Yeah.
Okay. I will upload all these files. So if you want, what you guys can do, like, you can take notes on your notebook because I will upload this file to our classwork section. So you will have all this file. Now I'm going to save this file as external CSS. Save as. External underscore css.html. Okay, so what I'm gonna do, I will split my view. Okay, so for example, I have some h1 here. Then maybe I have h2 here. Heading 3. Get here. So for example, I copy this text, put it there. Oh. Okay, so now I just actually created some dummy HTML page. Okay, so now, hold on, what is this link coming from? Let's delete this link. Okay, So now, what is the external CSS? External CSS is nothing but a external file. So we are going to have to create a external CSS file first, then refer that file to this HTML. That's the only thing we are going to have to do. So how we are going to do it? Very easy. I go to File, then I go to New CSS file. Do you see New CSS file? So click on New CSS file. Okay. So now this is how a new CSS file will come. So if I want, I can actually put some body is a tag of HTML. Do you guys understand? So if I want, I can actually put some properties, like for example, background colors. So see background, I can say background color. So for example, body color, I want to do background as blue. Okay. Now I have to save my CSS. Now I do Control S. So I'm going to save my file as external external. Now look, here is the change. Do you see this time the file extension is CSS instead of HTML? Okay, just save it. Now if you go to your HTML file, you are gonna see the background color is blue. It's not working, so let me open it using, oh, okay. Now, why can you tell me why it's not working yet? Because we never refer this CSS file to our HTML yet. Okay. Yes, so we are gonna have to now link this CSS file to this HTML. Okay, so same way, how you're gonna do it, you are gonna have to come inside head tag. So look, where is our head tag? This is our head tag. This is where it finished. So I'm just gonna go above to this page here. In here, I am gonna add that external CSS file. Okay, so how I'm gonna add that external CSS file? I will go to okay, so I will write CSS equals to, oops, hold on. Okay, so I'm gonna have to use link tag. Remember, like, we were actually trying to use link tag earlier, but it did not work because link tag is for linking a file. So you come to head tag. Inside head tag, you put something called link. Okay, now in href, we are gonna use the file. So the idea is you start a link tag, then the next one is, this is where you are saying what is the relation to this link. This is a style sheet we are trying to link. Okay, then the next one is, next attribute is called type equals to text.css. Then finally you are gonna have to use something called href. Href is the file name. The way, remember, href is actually helping us to add HTML with others. Same way here we are just gonna add our CSS file. So what is our CSS file name? External.css, right? external.css. Now, do you see the difference? As soon as I actually applied the external CSS, automatically the page color changed. Page color, like, the background color updated because we put background color as blue. Do you guys remember? So that CSS has been applied to the HTML that we worked on.
So can you just click on your external CSS one more time? Just added the color.
Is the exactly same way. We just actually used a body tag. Okay, so for example, now our text is too black. I cannot see the text. So let's change the color to our text. Okay, so now let's add, sorry, H1. So we are gonna put some coloring for H1. Now I'm gonna say text color, text dash color is red. Save it, go there. Oops, what is the text color that we used? The oh, only color, sorry. So we are gonna have to use this, not text color, it's color. So just,
Color red?
yeah, just do this. This will apply, look, so all the H1 tag is automatically updated to red. Okay, so now for example, now I need to put some coloring for other tags. Okay, here color equals to maybe like, you know, yellow. Then let's do our p tag. Okay, so in here, so this is where we are gonna say text alignment equals to maybe center. Then we are gonna say text text justify equals to maybe auto. Then we are gonna say text decorations equals to maybe line throw. Let's see what is line throw. So save it and go to our site and look, a line throw mean, remember in a Word file or other file, whenever you edit your file, you can actually put a line in between. So this is what actually line throw means. So in your external file, blue is a very bad background color. So I don't know, maybe like, you know, let's see some HTML color code. We have learned HTML color code, right? HTML color, color tag text. Okay, so you go there now. Okay, so for example, I want to put my background color is this one. So this is the color code I copied. It's called Control C. Here, put this, save it, go there. Now it's better. Now you can do it. Okay, so I have to remove this actually. Okay, in my title, maybe I should put external CSS. So any questions so far about inline, internal, and external CSS? And any question about CSS? Whatever we have learned, the basic stuff? Say it again. What do you mean you added a page?
Oh, I see it on the other side.
Huh? Okay, when it's say external, that means it's an external file. It's not a page. So CSS is a file. Look, the file name is external.css. So we created a external CSS file. This file, we refer that file to our HTML page. Look, on top of our head tag, you have to remember where exactly you're going to have to put this link tag. If you put this link tag inside body, it's not going to work. It has to be under head tag. So under head tag, you just actually define, okay, I want to add a external CSS file, and under href, you define where is your file is. Now the way, remember in our image class, you have to have an image under the same folder wherever your HTML files are. Exactly same way, your CSS file has to be under same folder to make it work. Look, I am using relative path. I never use like, you know, the absolute path, like, you know, see my documents or something. Okay, So it has to be under same folder to make it work. Clear so far? Does anyone have any questions so far about internal, external, and inline CSS? Yes.
What's the most popular one?
Yes, the most popular one is always the CSS. How I know? Look, you don't have to ask me. You go to any site that you like. For example, Amazon is one of my favorite sites. So if you go to amazon.com, so right click on your Amazon site, go to inspect element. Now remember I said, like, you have to go to the head tag. So look for HTML head tag. So okay, so this is our HTML. Look, HTML, right? So inside HTML, do you see head tag right here, wherever my mouse is? So go inside head tag. Now do you see link tag? Do you see link tag? Inside link tag, these are some JavaScript file. Let's go to CSS where exactly they're defining the CSS. Look, this is the style sheet, remember? So whenever you're going to say rel equals to style sheet, that means this is the style sheet file. Okay. Now href equals to, this is the style sheet file. Now external CSS is the most popular CSS. Now if I copy this URL, put it in a browser, we are going to see a huge CSS file of Amazon. Do you see this? Look how big is the CSS file is. Okay, that's literally like, that covers anything and everything that you have inside the Amazon sites. Thousands of product, thousands of image, thousands of links. 5 minutes? Sure. Okay, so external is the most popular way to link your CSS to a HTML. I am showing you the basics, but why? Because you will not be working creating HTML or CSS. You're just gonna have to understand. Now I'm gonna explain a very important concept in CSS. That's what actually you're gonna know, or you're gonna need for your Selenium class. Okay, so we are gonna learn something called ID and class in CSS. That's the most important concept in CSS. These are some basic stuff we just learned. Today we are gonna learn another important concept. It's called ID and CSS. I mean ID and class. Okay, so like, as actually they're gonna pray now, so we're gonna take some break. But by this time, do you guys have any like questions about whatever we have covered? ওই আপু কি চলে গেছে? দরজা খুলে বলেন যে ইভান ভাই আছে। ইভান ভাইয়ের সাথে কথা বলতে চাইলে বলেন ইভান ভাই আসছে। চলে গেছে?
আমি এটাই বলতে চাইছিলাম, বাট আমি 13 ইঞ্চি ডাইরেক্ট ডুয়াল কোডটা নিলে কি স্লো হয়ে যাবে না?
13 ইঞ্চি নিলে স্লো হবে কিনা?
ডুয়াল কোড
কেন এটা কেন নিবেন না?
একটু বড় হয়ে যায়।
13 ইঞ্চি নিতে পারেন, মানে অত বেশি স্লো হবে না, অল্প, বাট ইটস ওকে, ওইটা কোনো সমস্যা হবে না। নিতে পারেন, কোনো সমস্যা নেই।
এটা ভালো নাকি 15 ইঞ্চি?
এটা একটু বড়, মানে হ্যান্ডেল করতে ভালো আর কি, কাজের জন্য সুবিধা আপনার।
আমি কপি পেস্ট ডাউনলোড করছি, বাট রং একটা আছে।
ঠিক আছে, না আমরা ওই যেটার মধ্যে ইমেজের মধ্যে করি, হ্যাঁ এখন যে ইমেজটা দিয়ে দিব সেটার মধ্যে করি।
আমি মনে করছিলাম, বাট রংটা আছে।
না সমস্যা নেই, আমি এটা কপি করে দিই। Guys, this is the time you ask me questions if you have any question about basic CSS. Sure. Sure. ভাইয়া একটু জায়গা দেন, ওরা নামাজ পড়ুক। Yeah.
Why would you, the main purpose of an external CSS is because it's a big,
You want to keep everything separate. In a company, right? In a technology company, there are different types of tools. Who's talking? Okay. So So in a technology company, right, there are different types of role who works in companies. So you guys gonna be working as a software quality assurance engineer. So in our class, in our following class, we will be starting a topic called software development also. In that software development life cycle, there are different stages of software development. So in different stage, different people works. Okay. So first of all, there are a role called business analysts. Those people's job is to gather requirements, talk to the management, ask them what they need, right? Next role is called designer. Now, designer job is to do function design. Remember I said before you make your HTML, think about design? Remember I was showing you something called wireframe? You guys remember wireframe?
Yeah. You mentioned it.
Okay. So this is called this is called wireframe. Okay. So some designer will design this things. He is a graphics designer. He is gonna be very good with Photoshop. So he's gonna be designing this. Okay. So now the next step is called UX design, user experience design. Their job is to create HTML. Okay, so their job is to create HTML as well as write CSS. So they're going to create a separate HTML file, separate CSS file to come up with the HTML look like this. So they're going to write some CSS separately, they're going to write some HTML separately, connect it together so that the HTML should look like this. Okay? So there are front-end engineer, a lot of times they call it front-end engineer, a lot of times they call it UX designer. So their job is to come up with HTML from the image. Okay? So now, remember you said why do you need separate, you can do it using inline or you can do it using internal, right? The way it is, a company, a lot of times a company is too big. A company only has CSS code. He does not do HTML, he does not do anything at all. He only does CSS code. A company only hire a guy who knows very good CSS. Yes, so his job will be only to deal with CSS. Okay. So now the idea is company will have an external person, an external employee who's going to be very good with CSS. So he will be creating the CSS file for the HTML. He will put some values. Remember we did some pixel perfection. So a lot of times the developer will fix some this type of tiny things. He's going to come up with all his design. So we're going to learn more CSS. So his job will be only to deal with CSS. He does not do anything at all in the company. And that's why whenever you have everything separate, it's easy to assign tasks to people. So that's why everything nowadays is everything separate. You do your job, you do your job. You know how American assembly line works, right? You guys know what is assembly line? You guys heard about assembly line? No? Yes. It's not even American, it's everywhere. Like, for example, in industry, right? When, for example, is car companies. How do they make car? It's a big, huge thing. Those things they take 1 year to build a car. No. A lot of times they can build 1,000 cars in 1 day. How it is possible? They have assembly line set up. Assembly line means one guy, his job is to put only tire bolted. He only does putting the tires together. Another guy maybe he's putting the electric light bulb together. Another guy only the door. So assembly line means they separate the task to different group of people, and things come one after another. That guy's job is to actually fix that problem.
Those ones are actually robots now.
Okay. So, but still, there are a lot of things robot can do. So they have to do. So So assembly line is this. So same way, same structure is used in software development. Let's separate all the words. You have to check what is the mistake. Okay. So now maybe two file is two different directory. First check like if both file are in the same directory. If it is external CSS, it has to be under same directory. Mm-hmm.
Are there jobs where people just do the initial HTML?
Yes, there are drafts. So the way we are doing it, this is a draft kind of thing. So
Jobs where people just
once
do
you
that?
keep doing the draft, you are submitting your task to the people who's gonna review. They're gonna match your HTML with the design. If that match, that's the time your draft is getting approved. It's not gonna be like okay, you're just gonna do right away and it's gonna get approved. No, in Office there are like certain rules that you are gonna have to follow. Okay.
If that's not the final, it's not the website. You're gonna.
Oh, it's not the, yes, it is one part of the web application. It's not gonna be the website or web application. Okay, so now, for example, we have done so many like text alignment. Now let's actually do some positioning. It's called, let's do some margin. Okay, so now let's learn some margin. Remember I started margin but I never actually finished margin. So now, for example, this paragraph, we can actually put more value and key and value pair to this CSS. It's better you do it this way. Okay, so for example, if I want to do margin, okay, see margin. So now I have margin left, margin right, margin top, margin bottom, right? So for example, margin left, I'm gonna use margin left and I will be using 200 pixel. Oops. Okay, save it. Let's see. Do you see, like, did you see it's actually get switch to 200 pixel? Let's do actually left align. That time you'll see. Okay, look, my text is left aligned, but I did push the text to 200 pixel. Now look, if I remove this 200 pixel to 0 pixel, that time you're gonna see the text will be all the way in the left side. Do you see this? See, my heading start from here. This is my, okay, let me show you on a web page. It will make sense more. External CSS. Okay, look, okay. Now, my text start from here. Now, one of my job is, for example, push this text maybe until here. Okay, so what I can do, I can come here, make it 200 pixel, save it, and go there, refresh. See, it actually like push the text to right a little bit. Okay. Now, okay, now, for example, I want to push my text to like 200 pixel down. So I can do, oops, I can do margin top maybe like 100 pixel, save it, go there. Now you see the difference, refresh. Do you see it's actually like I mean went down 100 pixel. Okay, so now these are some of the margin property. Let's try using some other property called border. Okay, now how exactly border works? Okay, now let's do some bordering in our text. in my paragraph I want to put some border. So how I'm gonna do this? See border. So I'm gonna do border. Border equals to, let's put dotted. I just want to put some dotted border in my text all around. Look, do you see a dotted border? So a dotted border has been added automatically. Okay, so now after this dotted border, for example, now I want to use okay, border width. So there are more CSS I can use, like for example border, even though I can put border color. Border color equals to red. Now if I go, now if I do refresh, did I spell wrong red? See, the color is blue. It was not showing because the background color was little red, so that's why. Okay, so it's red, now it's blue. Now do you see, like, a one tag can have thousands of different property I can assign to make my work. To finish my work, I can put thousands of property if I want. Okay, so now let's try with some other different property. For example, I can actually use a 3D border. Let's do border style equals to solid instead of dotted. Solid. Save it. Let's see what is the difference. See? Okay. So now, now we already learned. Now let's learn padding. Padding is one of the most important concept in CSS. Okay. So padding defines a fixed padding. Like how exactly? What does that mean? For example, do you see, like, I do not have enough space between my text and my border. So if I want, I can make it bigger or I can make it smaller. The space between the text and the border, it's called padding. So we can actually use some padding attributes to define our spacing for the paragraph, right? So let's try some padding. Now let's go here. So I'm gonna say padding top. So padding top, maybe I'll do 20 pixel. Now save it. Let's go. Now do refresh. Do you see, like, it automatically added a space between this? It's not actually space right here. It's between this text and the border, right? So now, for example, if I want to do a space between the bottom part and the bottom text, so there is a CSS property called padding bottom, right? So I'm gonna go padding bottom is maybe, like, this time I'm gonna put 10 pixel. Save it, go there. See, it automatically added that pixel. Say it again. This is a paragraph. So if I need 2 line, I'm gonna use 2 h1 or h2 or 2 other tag. Okay, so this is a paragraph tag we are actually styling. It's not we are styling the h1 or h2 tag. Okay, so now everyone understand what is a padding by now? Okay, so now now another important concept is called position. CSS position. What does position mean? Position mean okay, let's start with actually, like, position is a concept of div, so we did not actually go to div yet. Float is also a concept of div. So okay, So the next concept is position and it's called float. These are the two important ones that we are going to study, position and float. But before that, we are going to have to study div first. Okay, so let's start a div based layout first. So everyone have basic idea about like three types of CSS we studied so far? Okay, nice. So what we are going to do, we are going to start something called a different layout. So I am starting a new HTML file. Ooh, my battery is down. CSS.
HTML, so it's a new HTML. In CSS, your end results from CSS, not CSS or not HTML. Yeah. Your final result coming up on the HTML, right?
Okay, so I started another new HTML. So I'm going to save this file as div layout. So save as. Okay. Now, now let's actually design something first before we start actually writing our HTML. What does that mean? I meant to say, for example, I want to design a page like this. Okay, so this is the one actually you guys designed for that table-based layout class, right? So now let's actually design some basic stuff. Okay, so this is a footer. So for example, I want to design a page. I will have a side left panel, then I will have a panel right here, then I will have another panel from here to there, then I will have some footers. Pretty much this is about it, and I will have some link right here. These are 3 links. Maybe I will have a logo on top right here. Okay, so this is what actually we are trying to design. Now we are going to start a div based layout to start the process. Okay, so okay, so okay. Okay, so in here, so first of all, let's put some title. In here, so the first thing we are going to do, the way we started a table, instead of table, we are going to use something called div. Okay, so this is the main div. So we can have div for a specific area of the site. So for example, the design we created earlier, what is that design here? So this could be a div, the image, this could be a div, this portion could be another div, this portion could be another div, the whole thing could be a div, this could be a div. Okay, so footer could be a div. So now we are going to start a div where we are going to put our picture, right? So inside the div, first thing I want to put a img tag because I'm going to put the image here. So src equals to fb.png. Now if I go to view, then if I go to split screen, now look, my image is here, but I need to shrink the image to make it look like the design we created, right? I want to put it in the left top corner. So in that case, I'm gonna have to create a CSS file. Okay, so what I'm gonna do, I will create a external CSS file as well for this one. So I will do CSS, and here I will say div layout div layout.css. I will save a div layout.css file. Now another major important concept. Remember, I say whatever we are going to learn now, this is going to be part of your Selenium. What does that mean? In a CSS, so we are going to learn something, a concept called CSS selector. Okay, so what is a CSS selector? There are two types of CSS selector we are going to learn. One is called class selector. One is called CSS class selector. Another is called CSS ID selector. CSS ID selector. Okay, right here. The ID selector and the class selector. You remember these two concepts because these are the two concepts we are going to be using in Selenium too. In our Selenium, we are going to have an option to find something using ID and find something using a CSS class. So that's why, like, remember these two concepts. So in CSS, or in whenever we are designing our HTML, we can put some class or ID selector in our CSS to define the styling for that specific HTML tag. Okay, so what does that mean? Remember, like, in our HTML, remember whenever we are doing HTML table based layout, I use a attributes called ID equals to something. Then I removed it. I didn't use it. I say I will actually do it later. So today we are going to actually use that attributes. Okay, so I started a div, but I never put some ID. ID is the unique name to connect or contact with this div. So I'm going to put a unique ID to it. So for example, I'm going to say this is my image tag. So I'm going to name my ID equals to image. Okay, now, so what I'm gonna do, as I said ID equals to image, I just have to define some styling for this ID. So once I define a styling for this ID group, this automatically will be applying to this image. Everyone understand what I just said? Okay, so how exactly I am gonna define a CSS based on ID? So the ID, the element, we already studied element selector, the ID selector. Okay, so the ID selector in CSS is very easy. You put a hash sign, then you put the ID name. What is my ID name? Image, right? IMAGE, image. Okay, so then you start a second bracket, finish your second bracket. Okay, so in my image, first of all, I want to shrink it, right? So I need to maybe, like, put some length and width, right? So let's do some border, maybe, like, first put some border. I'm gonna put some border, to maybe dotted border. Then I will put some length. No, it's called, what is this called? Okay, I guess dimension. Let's see. Oh, okay. So it's called width and height. So if I do go there, WID right here, width. So for example, I want to do width equals to 20 pixel and HEI height equals to 20 pixel. Okay, so now all I have to do just add this CSS file reference to my HTML, right? You guys already know about that, right? Like, you know, how to can you tell me, like, you know, what do I have to do if I want to add this CSS to my this HTML file? What do I have to do?
Put the hyperlink.
Yes, the link tag, right? So I can actually literally copy this link tag from here, come back to div layout. So under here, now all I need to do, change this CSS file name. So currently our CSS file name is divlayout and save. Okay.
That's right.
Uh-huh. Okay, it did. Okay, it did actually shrink it, but it did not shrink the image. So I see. Okay, so I'm gonna go to my external CSS. Actually, these two I should put it in Ctrl X, should put it in img. Now let's go check. Ah, that's too small. Maybe I should put maybe 50 pixel, 50 by 50. Let's see how it looks. Better. So now I have to now fix the bordering. Okay. Okay, for now it's fine. So we are gonna fix it actually while we work on it. Okay, so the idea is we are gonna create different div, and inside this different div, we are gonna put our, like, you know, we are gonna start designing the site which gonna look like this. Okay, so we only work with the image section. Now let's create a left panel, the left side panel, right? So I'm gonna start another div. So come here, outside of this div, let's start another div. Okay, now let's put some ID as well. ID equals to I will name it left panel, left underscore panel. Okay, now in here I said I want to create some link, right? What is the link? How do you create a link in HTML? What tag do you use to create a link? A tag. So I'm gonna use some a tag. So in this a tag, say maybe I'll say href equals to, what is the file name? CSS. For example, I'm gonna actually refer some of the today's class HTML file, and I will name it CSS first class practice. Okay, so now I will copy this link. Okay, so now can anyone tell me how do I actually solve this issue? I want to put it one after another, not one by one. Yes, so just use some line break, right? So use some BR. So everyone, by now everyone have some basic idea of, like, you know, how to create a basic HTML, right? Inshallah. Okay. All right, so I have 4 links. Now I want to put some border as well. So what I should do, I should take this panel ID, go to my div layout CSS, start creating some styling for that ID. Okay, so I put hash sign, put this, start this. Okay, so now let's put some border. Solid, then I will put some color, maybe blue, then background color, okay, equals to gray. Okay, let's see how it looks. Okay, it's fine, but the thing is I don't need this div to go all the way on the right. Okay, so what I have to do, I have to shrink this div all the way up here. Okay, so okay, so now let's do div layout. In here, left panel, I'm gonna have to define some width. In here, maybe I will do 100 pixel. Let's see how much is 100 pixel. Okay, does it look good? Now maybe I'll make it a little bigger. 150. Okay, better, right? So our second portion is also done. Everyone understood what exactly we are trying to do piece by piece? The way we designed that, image first, we are trying to create a piece by piece HTML based on our design. Okay, so we have in the left side we have this for link. Now let's start another div right here. Now what was our next part? Walaikum salam. So our next part is start a new div on the right side, which will display some paragraph or some content, right? So we are gonna start another div. Oh. So let's start another div. Now look, I started another div, so I'm gonna put some ID. Now in this ID, I will maybe name it middle. Okay, so now in this middle ID, we are gonna define some styling. So put some hashtag middle. Okay, so put some, we do the exact same thing. These two common, let's see, put it here. Let's see how it looks. Okay. Okay, now go to our layout file, and inside this div, let's put some big text. So let me just copy some text from online. So for example, let's copy this whole text. Okay, so I'm going to start a p tag. Oops. Inside this div, I'm going to start a p tag. Put this text. And I will put more text on it. Go there. Put it here. Okay. So now do you guys realize, like, this actually div actually come under this div? Logically it should come under, but I'm gonna have to do some trick to push it, like, in this place. Okay, so using some CSS trick, we are gonna learn how to actually move this div. Okay, so what we are gonna do, first thing we are gonna learn now, as we already know what is ID and what is okay, let's learn some class as well. So class property, because we understood the ID property of CSS, we did not practice of class. So let's try to do some class, then we will come back to our design again. So what is a class? For example, you come here. Okay, class is how do I say, it's another styling property. The way ID works, CSS also can have class. So for example, I can define a class. How do you define a class? Very easy. Instead of hash sign, you put dot sign, then you put the class name. For example, I define a class name is test. Okay, so in here, for example, I have some styling called text align center. Okay, so I created a class called test. Now if I assign this test to my this, do you see, like, this automatically applied to the paragraph that we have written? We created a class right here, and that class, we actually put this property as called text alignment equals to center, and we use that class right here. That's how we are seeing this text has been manipulated and, like, define it here, and we see, like, the text has been changed to a center alignment, right? So now you can say, okay, then what is the difference between class and ID? Isn't it the same thing? It's work exactly same way, right? Pretty similar way, because the way we define an ID, same way we define a class too, right? The idea is, lot of time you can overwrite your class property. For example, if I use a class property in my div, okay, so instead of defining ID, I can actually get my div based on the class. After that, I can overwrite whatever the p tag is actually defining it to. So you know what, I'll show you an example. So let's do the easy part first. Okay, so as we already know what is, like, class and ID. So now all I need to do, I need to okay, so I need to float this. I need to, like, remove, or I need to move this whole border to right here on the right line of this box. That's the whole idea we are trying to do, right? So in that case, we are going to have to use something called CSS position. CSS position, but do I have to do float first? Okay, Yes, I have to do float first. Yes. Okay, so let's do now what we are gonna do. We are gonna learn a new attributes. So this is the middle div we are gonna use, right? So we are gonna use a new attributes called float. Float right. Now let's see if we do float right. I have to make a float right. I have to shrink it actually. I have to put a width property to make to shrink it first. Maybe 250 pixel. Okay. Do you see it started actually? It's actually started to moving. Look, it used to be right here. Now it moved to right here. Okay, so now I have to bring it up here. Do you guys remember, like, we started, like, margin left, top, right? Now can you tell me what do I use to bring this box up here? Margin top. So if I'm gonna go to div layout right here, I'm gonna use margin top equals to, maybe, like, I would move it to 20 pixel, and let's see how it looks. Nope, I have to move more, 200 pixel. Oh, where is it? Okay, actually instead of top I should use margin bottom. Yes, margin bottom. Let's do 20 pixel. 20 is no good, maybe, like, 50. 100. 200. Oops. Okay, so let's come here, maybe make this one as 450 instead of 250. Okay, actually I should make it 650. Okay, so now, like, if I want to bring it on the left side, what do I have to do? Margin left. So margin left or margin right? Margin right. Margin right is gonna take you to, let's try both. So margin left, 50 pixel. Margin right. Okay, it should be margin right. So let's do 200. Yes, it moved. So now let's do 250 maybe. Let's see. Good. So 250 is actually, like, wherever we want to bring this box to, right? Okay, now actually it should be, I guess it should be margin top, not margin bottom. Margin top. Margin top equals to 50 pixel maybe. No, margin top is going down, right?
Yeah.
Is it margin bottom?
You have to use position first.
Okay. So let's use position first. Okay. So okay. Now there are different type of positions. Relative relative fix. and absolute. How do I say? Okay. Fixed position. So there are three type of position that CSS support, right? Look, so the first one, actually not three, four type of positions. So there are four type of position property that CSS support. Okay, the first one is called static, second one is called relative, third one is called fixed, and fourth one is called absolute. Now, what does this actually do? Now, a position is static. What does a static position do? HTML by default. So normally, whenever you write HTML, it automatically select the static positions. We don't have to do anything to actually deal with static positions, right? So now the next one is called relative. Relative positions is position relative to the normal positions. Like, for example, static positions. Okay, good example is right here. This is whenever something start on the left side. What is this? This is always the static positions because this is by default, right? So whenever you are comparing something with static positions and you want to move something relatively little bit, like left or right, that's called relative positions. So now how do you know? Look, so you come here, the practice we are actually trying to do. In our case, what we can do, in here we can say position equals to relative. Okay, so if you do relative positions, then actually float right, margin top, margin bottom.
Assign left and absolute. Otherwise, usually you need to remove everything.
Something, yeah, something has to be absolute first. Where is my left panel? Okay. Okay. So do you see we have two div, right? First div we have link, second div we have the paragraph. So as he said, right? So we are gonna have to have something is static or something is absolute, which is not gonna change. Based on that, we are gonna actually relatively say make right or make left. Okay. So we have to make this div, this one to relative, I mean absolute first. Then based on this one, we can actually move this one to left or right, right? So what we can do, we can come here. This is the left panel, right? So let's do position equals to absolute. Then based on this, if I do relatives, automatically should switch. Yes. So now if I remove margin top and margin right, it should automatically fix the issue. Do I still need margin left? Which one was that? Margin top, I don't need this. Yes. So now this one may be like 200 pixel. Margin right. What is this pixel gap? Left panel is 150. This one is 650. Okay, position right. Then margin left. Let's see if we do auto. No. $150. Interesting. Left 30 pixel. Oh, actually what I can do, instead of margin left, no, it's not gonna. Okay, I say float right. I don't even need float actually, right? It automatically should fix my issue. Yes. So in that case, I don't even need this. I say left 20 pixel. Nope. Say it again. Yeah. Instead of 20, it should be 170. Yes. But I float it. That's the.
Does it make a big difference if you have different?
Okay. Now here we go. So I don't really have to float. So as I make my position is absolute. My left panel is absolute. My left panel is not changing, right? So look, my left panel finishing at 150. So I just moved my right panel 20 pixel to the right. That's why it is 170. Okay, I actually float it, so that's why like it was actually like coming on top of the other div. So now if I go, look, this is the 20 pixel space between this div and this div. Okay, so now next, what is our next design? I have another div right under the one actually we had, right? So now what actually I should do, I should make my left panel more long. So I should put a length, I should define a length in my left panel. So if I come here, this is my left panel, right? So let's put some length. Oh no, height actually. Let's put some height, maybe like 500 pixel. Let's see. Yeah, better, right? Oh, 500 maybe too much. So this is the one we are working on. Where is it? Div base layout. Okay, so yeah, 500 is okay, right? So we want to create another div right here under this one. Okay, so let's go and start creating another div. So now under this div, this is the div finish. So I will start another div. Okay, now here I will define some ID here. I'll say maybe last div. I'll define a last div. So I'm gonna come here. I will put my ID. Okay, so last, but I have to use a hashtag because this is ID. Here I will do border, color, width same, position I should do relative. Now if I see, okay, I might have to push these things to right. So position, margin left, is actually exactly the same thing. Yeah, it's under. We did not put any text yet, so that's why we are not seeing it. So now let's put some. Where is my first step? Give me first step. Okay, so we are here. Then finally we need a footer, right? Is today's class is too confusing? What do you guys think?
Yes.
Huh? Okay. So the thing is, I'm not going really slow the way we went for last couple of class. Today I'm trying to go a little fast so that actually we can finish. We have to cover CSS, HTML, and we're gonna have to cover a little bit of JavaScript as well. So that's why, like, I'm kind of like trying to finish it a little quicker, because last couple of class was really easy. I went to everyone desk. I showed you the basic HTML. Now, like, I already assume you guys already know how to write this basic tag. You minimum know, like, where is body tag goes, where is HTML. Whenever I'm writing different tag, you guys minimum understand what exactly I'm doing, right? That was the whole concept, like, so I'm gonna put this classwork to Dropbox, so you're gonna have access. You can download those HTML file and you can practice at home. It doesn't really, like, you don't really have to practice it with me in the class. And I'm gonna upload the video as well, so you will be. Say it again. Yes, Blackboard. Yes, I already uploaded to video. Did you guys see the video?
This file also uploaded.
Everything. Did you log into Pexodex site? Go check, log into Pexodex site to make sure, like, you have that video available.
I did the class one.
Classwork is not Pexodex site. Classwork is on under Dropbox.
No, the Dropbox. Did you put it?
Dropbox. Which one? Class or video?
Class.
Class. Yeah, I did. Today's class I did not, like, it's not. I'm not done yet. Okay. So for example, like, I'm actually putting some text, maybe from here. Okay, so I'm gonna go to this second div, last div. I will start more paragraph here. I will put the text here, save it. Okay, look, it's actually almost there. Okay, so finally I'm gonna have to put a footer which is right here. Okay, which is all the way end of the page. Okay, so now if I do refresh, this is my second paragraph, right? So if I want to put a footer right here. Okay, so what I'm gonna do, I'm just gonna define another div for footer. So I will put some ID equals to footer maybe. So I'm gonna go to this CSS file, start defining the footer. Okay, so what we need to do, I need to put this position equals to relative, but I'm gonna have to do margin left equals to, I don't need this width. So this time I'm gonna have to do margin left, I guess, all the way 500 pixel or something. 650, I believe. Let's see how it looks.
That's 6,000. That's 6,500.
Did I put 6,000? Oh, yes. So, okay, it's coming right here. So I have to push it all the way bottom, right? So I am gonna have to do margin top actually.
Does it work the opposite?
Position. These all are relative to, no, actually it's not relatives. Only the 3 is actually relative and absolute. So just let's do this and margin top actually. Margin top equals to this. Let's see how it looks. Oh, where does it go? Okay, let's put some text because we are not seeing it because we don't have anything. Let's put H1 copyrights all right reserved okay. So now, oh, okay, it's under right here. It's there, but I'm not seeing it. Okay, guys, it's there. Uh-oh. Okay. So now I have to do push it to all the way bottom, right? So top is by 650. Oops, I say tops. Now how about this? Is it margin bottom or margin top? Interesting. Um, okay. So I put 950 as my margin top. So that's why it actually bring it to all the way bottom right here. Okay. So the thing is you're gonna have to do like, do some tweak to change the CSS to different design. So I'm gonna actually give you a hard homework. So I want you to actually like, start working on it from today so that actually you can do it. CSS tricks. Okay, there is something called CSS tricks. The image is, where is it? So this is the homework actually I was gonna give you. Is it actually showing you the work? Where is the work? Okay, this is the work actually. Okay, so or let me upload some pictures because that makes more sense. Okay, this is the one. Where is it? Here we go. So okay, they actually give you all the CSS property. So what I want you to do, draw this on your notebook. I want you to create a CSS design or HTML which is gonna look like this. I want to have a border type of box which will have a white border. On top of that I will have a black border. So, and I will have bigger box, smaller box, and the smallest box. This is how I want to make it look like. These are the property, but don't copy it. Like, you should actually practice a little bit. This is what actually, like, I want. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna actually still save this image, upload it to Dropbox as well. This is one homework, and another one is this guy. Okay, this one doesn't have code on it, so this one is gonna be tricky. Okay, so these are the two homework I want you to do. So I will upload both pictures in Dropbox. I want you to actually start working on this too in tomorrow's class. So the thing is, this is a design. You understand, you have to create a HTML out of this, right? I want your HTML look like this. This is a green color, so basically you're gonna have to create a box. You're gonna have to use a background color as green, right? You're gonna have to have a black border, right? Then you're gonna have to have some other property to make it look like this. Okay. So I know today's class was like little fast, but where is this picture coming from? I don't know, man. So so we covered deep base layout and a little bit of CSS today. So we are gonna continue doing our CSS trick in our tomorrow's class, as well as we try to start something called JavaScript. The thing is, say it again. Some more classes for CSS. Okay, CSS class. So as I said, CSS class and CSS ID, we are going to continue from today's class. Okay, so today I just actually want to show you how exactly a div look like, because modern days no one use table based layout anymore. Everyone use div based layout. Because how you're going to know? Go to Facebook and go to right click inspect element. You are going to see all the code is written based on div. So in your finishing, like, once we are done with our HTML class, we are gonna give you a project which you are gonna have to do using HTML, using div based layout. Okay, and I will upload a HTML, static HTML site, which is, we normally actually show it to everyone in our class as a class project, which is you are gonna have to follow to do your work. Look, it is here. It is on other batch, but I'm just gonna download it and put it there. ইউসুফ, হ্যাঁ এই তো আমি বাইরে গেছি কিছু করে করতে, ওকে আসতেছি। আচ্ছা ঠিক আছে, আসতেছি, বাই। Okay, so this is the folder. So write down this batch name. You can download it from there as Saturday Sunday morning batch 2. Then go to HTML, and you are gonna see a folder called time tracker prototype. Okay, so this is the class static HTML page, and look, all this page creating nothing but pure HTML, but the design will be very, very nice. Like, you are gonna see. Okay, it's because you should download it. You download it, you will see. Okay, I just have to download everything to show you how exactly, like, but this is the folder you go to. Okay, so you go to time tracker prototype. This is where you go. Okay.